Three Strikes.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Three Strikes. I'm your host, the one and only, John K. If you're watching on YouTube, please, if you enjoy the content, be sure to like and subscribe. It would help me out a great deal. If you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, any of that other stuff, make sure to follow along with us, however it works on there. I know Spotify, you just hit follow, and you're able to stay up to date with all of our new episodes coming out. I do not have Apple Music, so I do not know how that works, but I'm assuming it's something very similar. This is actually take number 2 on this video. The audio is all messed up on the first one, so we're going to try this again. But yeah, please make sure to like and subscribe. Follow our Facebook page at 3 Strikes. Follow me on Twitter at @TheRealJohnK_. More tweets coming soon. Been very dormant on Twitter, so I'm sure the people will love to hear me back on Twitter. I've got things to talk about. Even though I've already talked about them once, we're going to talk about them again. Yay. Even though this is your first time hearing this is my second time talking about all this. So, we are going to start out with strike number 1 on today's episode. The conference finals are set in the NBA. On the Eastern side, we have the Heat versus the Celtics. Boston and Miami doing battle again. And then on the West side, we have the Lakers and the Nuggets. LA versus Denver. Should be 2 amazing series. Two amazing series going on. Winners, obviously, to the NBA Finals. I can't wait for that. There are a lot of potential storylines that could come out depending on what finals matchup we get. And I'm very excited to see how that goes. But first, we got to talk about the Game 6s we talked about last week. And the Game 7 we'll touch on a little bit. I'm also going to talk about something I saw on social media that really pissed me off. And strike number 3 today will be us talking about Throwback Weekend at Darlington, which I really enjoyed. I said it last week, Darlington, best circuit on the schedule for NASCAR. It's a shame it almost wasn't on the schedule anymore. Shout out Kurt Busch and Ricky Craven. But yeah, starting with these conference finals matchups, as we talked about, Heat, Celtics, Lakers, Nuggets. I went 1 for 2 on my predictions, 2 for 3 technically. I did have the Lakers winning their series, but I had them losing Game 6. So I had the Heat over the Knicks in what ended up being a really good end of the game. I missed the rest of it, but it was a very intense ending to a very close game. The Heat pulled it out 96-92. But really, all the storylines are going to be on the Knicks side as they head into the offseason. Jalen Brunson, worth every single penny, despite the late turnover. Every single penny. He was paid 41 points. He showed up. He showed out just like he did last season for the Mavericks in the playoffs. Jalen Brunson was awesome. Obviously, not very awesome at the end, the late turnover. And the one thing that I really don't understand, and it's why I'm not a coach in the NBA, obviously, how do you give the ball to anybody but Jalen Brunson in that situation? I understand he's probably going to get doubled. They're going to try to get him to get rid of it. They had a really good look. Quentin Grimes was wide open, I believe, in the corner for a wide open 3 and missed it. Man, if you're a Knicks fan, that's heartbreaking. But, you know, this team has a lot of potential. And they have... I'm interested to see what they do in the offseason to try and add to and capitalize on that potential. RJ Barrett did not have a very good Game 6. He was 1 of 10. Julius Randle also disappeared in Game 6. I said it was gonna have to be Brunson and somebody else scoring 30, and Brunson still might have to score 40 for them to win the game. Brunson drops 41. Randle doesn't show up. RJ Barrett doesn't show up. Nobody else showed up for the Knicks in a pretty pivotal game. But the Heat did the job down the stretch. Such a scrappy team. Jimmy Butler did not exactly have the Game 6 closeout performance I predicted he was going to have. Shot 7 of 22 for 24, had 24 points, but he is a little banged up still, so got to keep that in mind. Now they move on to take on the Celtics. And one of the one of the posts I saw on social media is that the Heat only have a 3% chance of beating Boston. I'm sure Jimmy is pissed. Or he loves it, one of the two. I bet he loves it. I think he loves it. Loves being the underdog. Um, I would I would love to see Jimmy Butler get a ring. I think it would be incredible. That would be one of the feel good stories. I mean, he had that interview where he talked about he's never been a winner at every level, ever at any level. Excuse me, never a winner at any level. Didn't win at college. Didn't win in high school to get an NBA ring. With the journey he's been on, that would be incredible. That would be incredible. And don't worry, Knick fans. I think they'll be back next year. I really do. The team showed me quite a bit throughout the playoffs, and I think they'll be back. Even though the East is still going to be loaded, the Heat will obviously be back next year. The Bucks, uh, they should be back next year, I would think. Although there might be some changes coming to that organization. Obviously, they already fired Mike Budenholzer. Wow, struggling to talk today. On the flip side, we're going to start out with the one we got right. Knicks Heat move on. I really thought the Warriors would win game 6. I thought the Lakers would end up winning game 7. I thought it would be a classic. It was not a classic. Not a classic. Yikes. Yikes, yikes, yikes. If you're a Warriors fan, that was tough to watch. I mean, they shot horribly. I don't think I've ever seen the Warriors shoot that bad. It has been a long time since it has happened, especially in the playoffs. But I mean, 38% from the field as a team, 27% from downtown. Klay Thompson was 3 of 19 from the field. He was 2 of 12 from downtown. And usually, when you think game 6 and Klay Thompson, you would think it'd be 10 of 12 from downtown. And maybe 13 of 19 from the field, maybe more, 16 of 19, like 40 point, whatever that would end up being. I think 10 threes is 30, so 40 points, 45 points, something like that. Uh, but just the complete opposite. They came out and they fell flat on their face. Jordan Poole was non-existent. Also, I didn't talk about that in the messed up recording. Jordan Poole shot 3 of 10 from the field. He was horrible. Andrew Wiggins 2 of 8, not good. Steph Curry 11 of 28, not bad, but 4 of 14 from deep. Yikes! They couldn't have hit if they fell off a boat, and I was kind of disappointed. I was really expecting them to play better, but again, the shots just weren't falling, and they just started checking out more threes once they started missing and thinking they would go in, but somebody put a lid on the rim or something. It was wild. Austin Reeves was an absolute game changer for the Lakers. However, he had 23 points, 4 or 5 from deep, half court shot to end the half. That was electric. One of Cal Stone's favorite players from the NCAA tournament a couple years ago. Austin Reeves, stud. If he plays like that against the Nuggets, it'll be quite the series. Anthony Davis might as well change his middle name to Windex. He was cleaning the glass. Very, very good on the glass. 20 rebounds, 3 of them offensive. I said he needed to dominate. He pulled in some very strong, tough rebounds to stop the Warriors from having second chance opportunities. And I mean, he did what was asked. He went out there and he played hard, rebounded hard, and that's what you like to see. He needs to keep it going. Needs to consistently do it. I feel like at times it's been hit or miss in the playoffs, as we've seen with like the 11-point game, not many rebounds. And Dennis Schroeder, man, getting ejected, that was weird. And I thought the second one was a double tech. So I don't know how Draymond didn't get tossed either, because I believe there was a technical between the two earlier in the game also. I'm not going to question it. I really can't remember if it was indeed a double tech earlier in the game or if it was just Schroeder that got called for the technical. Regardless, Dennis Schroeder, really good defensive effort, and again, they're going to need that in the next series. An interesting matchup with Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon. I think if Aaron Gordon's healthy, I can't even remember. Um, it is going to be quite the matchup, and it again, I think it'll be a really good series. I'll save my predictions till later in the video, so make sure you stick around for those, or in the episode if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, whatever podcasts. So make sure to stick around. Predictions coming later in the episode for the series is it's going to be a good one. Game is tonight at 8:30 on ESPN. This should be going up. It is Tuesday the 16th. I've gotten out of the habit of saying the date at the beginning of the episode because I could never get it right when I used to do it. But it's like 4:15 when I'm recording now. I had the other one recorded and was getting ready to edit, or was editing it when I realized that the audio was all screwed up. So, yeah, it happens. Make sure you listen to this before you watch the game, or come back and listen to it after the game to see how correct I was. On the flip side, the Heat Celtics one also going to be a good one. Again, prediction at the end. The Celtics make it through with a historical Game 7 from Jason Tatum, 51 points. And he might have just blown up the 76ers, honestly. I don't know. I don't know what direction that team goes in the offseason. It makes you wonder. James Harden, I think I saw, had like 0 fourth quarter points in games like 5, 6, and 7 or something like that. Something crazy. Something unexpected. Doc Rivers got fired by the 76ers a couple of hours ago as of recording this. Ooh, there could be big changes in Philly. Will they be back? You would think so. You would think they'd be prominent players in the East again, but we will just have to see. I'm really not sure. I know Joel Embiid made comments about basketball being 5-on-5, and him and James Harden can't on their own. So, what does that mean? I don't know. I don't know what that means for the future of the team. We'll just have to wait and see. It should be quite the offseason. A couple of, like we talked about, the Knicks and the Sixers could be big off seasons for them. Strike two today. And this was done on purpose. I did this purposely when listing this out on how to talk about these things. Ja Morant, once again, for the second time, on Instagram Live flashing a firearm. I went into a big long rant the last time I recorded this, like an hour ago. I mean, wow, just where do you start? Where do you start? I did not feel like my rant last time was very cohesive. Most rants aren't, but try to keep it a little more straight and narrow this time. I know there's a lot of people. He is currently suspended from team activities. I know Stephen A's on ESPN saying people telling him he's going to be suspended for the whole season. The NBA hasn't even stepped in yet. It's only a team suspension handed out by the Grizzlies, and it really makes you question the future of Ja Morant in the NBA, especially with this being his second strike. I don't get it. I do not understand. I still don't understand. I went through and tried to rationalize it. There's no rationalizing what he did. Like, you would think after the first time of doing this, he would have learned his lesson, especially going to the counseling that he had to go to. If I remember correctly, he went to counseling for this. And you would think having test games during the season would have opened his eyes. I think now, there is apparently the possibility of him missing the entirety of the next season, the entire 82 game schedule. Do I think that'll happen? Not necessarily. I could see it happening, but I don't necessarily think it will happen. But it could. It's a strong possibility, and quite frankly, I won't be surprised if it happens. To try and teach a lesson, I suppose. you would have thought that after the first time this happened, that the lesson would have been learned. It would have been done and over with. It won't happen again. He's a changed man, and watching it happen again, you can't help but think about what is what potential is being thrown away, and it's not by an injury or anything like that. It's by somebody's decision, and not a smart decision. So I just it irritates me endlessly. This is somebody that I mean, kids idolize this guy. People want to be John Morant. Kids want to play John Morant. Want to play playing basketball. Want to be like John Morant. There we go. They want to be, the athletic young guard that takes the league by storm and helps vault his team back into, I guess, back into relevancy. I would say, in a sense, and it's a shame. It really is that the decision making isn't better. Like, I mean, there is so many people out there. There are so many people out there, me included. I'm included in this. That would love to be the young star player for a franchise in the NBA, helping them be successful. They would love that opportunity. They would love the opportunity to be paid millions of dollars. You have this opportunity in the palm of your hands, and you are throwing it away extremely publicly. Extremely publicly. I mean, you're on Instagram Live. It has gone viral again for the second time. I just don't understand how you don't learn your lesson after the first time of having it happen and having to go through all of this and all the issues it presents. I'm not gonna drone on about this anymore. It's embarrassing that happened not once but twice. It's doubly as embarrassing that it's happened twice. And John Morant really needs to take a long look in the mirror and have a realization that, that's not the way to be. It's, you have to step up and be a role model now. And I mean, people's livelihoods are on the line. Their job is on the line because of, I mean, in essence, because of decisions you're making. I mean, team success, people, I mean, coaches can get fired, front office members can get fired, all that kind of stuff could be repercussions of what you are doing. So you have to kind of take a look in the mirror, and I mean, you have to, and I guess grow up at this point. It's tough to say that because he is still young, but I mean, interested to see how this evolves. I might not talk about it again, just because I don't want to. It is an issue that should have been sorted long ago and should have been taken care of. Moving on, strike number 3 this week, or this episode. I should say this week because I will be back later this week. I'm not sure what day yet, but we'll get that panned out. I was supposed to record yesterday, but that happened and I needed the whole day to process it. Obviously, still trying to figure out the right things to say. I'm not sure if I'm saying the right things. Saying the things I feel I need to say. But strike 3 this weekend, throwback weekend in NASCAR at Darlington Speedway. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Love it. Absolutely love it. Darlington, my favorite track to watch, best track on the schedule. One of my favorite track to race on iRacing when I do iRacing. Full racing all weekend long. Some of the finishes were others. I mean, they were all good finishes. Some had head scratching moments that made you go, "Why are we doing this?" But nonetheless, it was a good weekend at Darlington. We will start with the Truck Series and your winner in the 19, Christian Eckes, second win of the season. That truck was really, really, really strong all race long. Led a race high 82 laps. Needless to say, we went over 3 in our predictions for the NASCAR races this past weekend. Christopher Bell looked good at one point. Carson Hocevar looked good at one point. Sheldon Creed, we'll talk about it. But yeah, Christian Eckes gets it done. It was awesome. Really good job by Christian Eckes. Arguably one of the three strongest trucks all day. We'll get to the other two momentarily, but we'll run down the top. I'll say 11 because there's somebody I would like to talk about in 11th. But Stuart Friesen finishes second. Tanner Gray finishes third. Both Gray brothers were running in the top 5 at one point. They both looked very strong. William Byron finishes fourth. Carson Hocevar finishes fifth after starting in 18th. He had quite the day. We'll talk about that. Rajah Caruth, if the race stayed green, could have possibly won. He was fast. I'm not happy with Rajah Caruth, but that's fine. It's okay. It happens when you're a fan. Trying to stay non-partial, and it went out the window. Bubba Wallace finishes 7th. Corey Heim, one of the other, I'd say 3 really strong trucks on the night. He finishes in 8th. Dean Thompson, he also made a crazy move on a restart. Corey Heim, wow, it was incredible. He went all the way down the racetrack, all the way back up. Somehow did not wreck anybody. He had the freshest tires out there. Ends up in 8th almost. If he'd have won that race somehow, he would have been freaking Superman. Dean Thompson finishes 9th. Caden Honeycutt finishes 10th. Nick Sanchez had 1 or 2. I'm trying to think if it was 2. Definitely had one of the best saves of the night. That kid's got a lot of talent. I won't be surprised when he wins his first race, and I think it will be a lot sooner than people realize. Had a chance in Texas, and that did not pan out very well. He went through the grass and got spun out. Carson Hocevar won though. Hey. But Nick Sanchez has a lot of talent, a lot of speed in that 2 truck too. So it will happen. It will happen soon. Corey Heim led 66 laps. X led 82. Byron led 7. Really the top 3 trucks of the night. I feel like every time you looked up front, they were 1, 2, 3. Carson Hocevar had driven from the start of the race to the end of stage 1. He went from 18th to 6th. That truck was on fire. I'm not going to say he was one of the top trucks of the night because we never really got a chance to see it. Ended stage 2 in spot number 4. And then his pit crew, I don't know what happened. It had to have happened on pit road. He lost a bunch of spots, was driving back up through the field again, and then got spun out by Rajah Caruth. I'm not a happy keeper. It is what it is. It's racing. Stuff happens. Especially at a tough track like Darlington. So awesome to see Carson Hocevar recover for a 5th place finish. Rajah Caruth, man, that truck was the fast at the end of the race. Whatever he found at the end of the race, he looked really good. Rajah's another guy that I don't think his first win's very far away either. I don't know where it's going to come at, but I think it'll come very soon, and I won't be surprised, honestly. That truck looked good. GMS is starting to figure it out. Grant Enfinger won last week at Kansas. Rajah Caruth had really good speed at Darlington. We're going to Wilkesboro, which should be a banger. Wilkesboro is going to be awesome. A lot of green-white checkers is what ended up. I don't know how Christian Eckes did it. He held on through what seemed like a million of those things to get the win. Just really great driving by Christian Eckes. Really nice to see him having success. He has been checkers or wreckers all season long, it feels like. 2 wins. I think the last 5 races, something like that. He hasn't finished better than 15th. So, been a rough go at times for Christian Eckes, but hopefully this gets him going on the right path, and 2 wins pretty much locks him into the playoffs. So we'll have to see how he does in the playoffs. On to the Xfinity Series, and what a finish to the Xfinity Series race, man. That was awesome. Wow. What a finish. Kyle Larson ends up your winner. Justin Allgaier finished 2nd. He was not a part of the finish. Cole Custer in 3rd. Austin Hill in 4th. John Hunter Nemechek in 5th. backwards across the line. Incredible. What him and Kyle Larson did. We'll talk about it momentarily. Carson Hocevar finishes 6th. We will talk about him also again. Um, what he did was, I think what he did was pretty incredible. And Josh Berry in 7th, Sam Mayer in 8th. He had a really good day, led a bunch of laps. Kaz Gralla in 9th, Corey Heim doing double duty, also same as Carson Hocevar in 10th. My pick to win, Sheldon Creed finishes 25th after he wrecked like 15 cars. I don't know what Sheldon was doing. I mean, I guess I understand what he was doing, but went into turns 3 and 4, slid up the track, spun out, wrecked a bunch of cars. Tough. Tough. He'll get his win someday, I'm convinced. Today was not that day. However, it was Kyle Larson's day. Would you believe me if I told you Kyle Larson never won at Darlington up until this point? It's the truth. Him and John Hunter Nemechek battling it out. I mean, they were the class of the field along with Sam Mayer. Sam Mayer had a really good car, led 35 laps. Larson led 46. Hunter Nemechek led 57. Kyle Larson got busted for speeding and drove all the way from the back up to like 6 before a caution came out and made it happen. Him and John Hunter going at it the last couple laps was awesome to watch. I didn't think Larson was going to get back to him. He somehow does. John Hunter Nemechek and him. Larson hits the wall coming off of 4. John Hunter bounces off of Larson and goes spinning, absolutely destroying race cars. But that's what Darlington's all about. It's not destroying race cars, but it's all about great finishes. And that one, I think you could call it a classic. I think it'll end up being a classic Xfinity finish. It was awesome. It was really good by both of those guys. It sucks that they both ended up wrecking their cars, but I mean, John Hunter more than Kyle Larson, but what a race. I mean, what a race. That was awesome. It was awesome coming down to the end. Darlington always provides. I would like to shout out Carson Hocevar with a 6th place finish. Ended up front late on a different tire strategy. I think his tires were 10 to 12 laps older than everybody else around him. Hung around the top 5, hung around the top 5 on those tires. And ends up with a 6th place finish. That's pretty baller. That is pretty baller. Also, Josh Berry finishes 7th, and he was in every single wreck it like. So shout out Josh Berry. Big fan of Josh Berry. Incredible driver. Can't wait to see the Xfinity Series in like a week and a half at Charlotte. It should be another good one. Can't wait to talk about it when the time comes. 600 weekend. It's going to be awesome. Just incredible. Now on to the Cup Series. Oh boy. Well, I guess we can start out with the top 10. That's a good place to start. William Byron gets his revenge after getting dumped by Joey Logano last year. He gets the win in the Throwback race. Kevin Harvick finishes 2nd. Chase Elliott 3rd. Great rally by the 9 team. Brad K with a 4th place finish. He, again, RFK just hanging. I mean, Brad Keselowski in general, just hanging around the top 5 all day long. I don't know what they've changed, but it's been good. Bubba Wallace finishes in 5th. Harrison Burton in 6th. He was really good, though. I'm not that surprised. Normally, if you didn't watch the race and you see, wow, Wood Brothers top 10, almost a top 5. What the hell happened? Well, a lot happened, but he was in the top 10 a good majority of the day. That 21 car was pretty decent. Kyle Busch finishes 7th. Justin Haley finishes 8th. Ryan Blaney finishes 9th. And Christopher Buescher finishes in 10th. But we got to talk about the elephant in the room. We got to talk about the elephant in the room, and we will momentarily. My pick was Christopher Bell. He finishes in 14th. He was moving forward at one point. Finished stage 2 in 6th. I thought that car was going to be going forward and to the front, and it did not happen. Well, how do we talk about this? Well, we'll just start by saying Martin Truex Jr. absolutely dominated the first portion of the race, led 145 laps. Bubba led a lap in there. Blaney led a couple laps. And then Truex gets passed by Ross Chastain at lap 150. And Ross was doing a really good job early to middle, through the middle part of the race. Coming up to the ending, wasn't very good, but up to that point, he had run a really good race. He had kept moving forward, kept moving forward, kept moving forward. Him and MTJ had a little run in at the end of stage 2. Not sure if Ross just was not trying to lap Daniel Suarez. That's kind of what it looked like. Martin Truex Jr. and him get together. Truex goes spinning. Ross up into the wall. We'll hear it again in a little bit. But yeah, Martin Truex Jr. really dominated the race very early for the first 150 laps. I thought for sure he was going to lead. I thought he was going to lead 3/4 more of the race, like 90% of the race. I thought he was going to lead the whole damn thing at that point. It was going to be like, I think it was the Coke 600. He led every lap but like 3 of them or something stupid. But Martin Truex Jr. looked really good. Had a really fast car, obviously sat on the pole. Got wrecked himself on a restart, really, kind of, if I remember. I don't know, there was a lot going on that replay that I was trying to watch. But oh man, Kyle Larson and Ross Chastain, we got to talk about it. Everybody's pissed off. So where do we start? I guess we can start the restart before the restart where everything really went down. Kyle Larson on the bottom. Kyle Busch is on the top of my list here that I'm looking at. That's why I said Kyle Busch. Kyle Larson on the bottom, Ross on the top. They're going into 1 and 2. They both started pretty evenly. I saw a lot of people saying Ross jumped the restart. I never really got a good view of it. But, I mean, Kyle Larson is not. He's side drafting very aggressively. He was really banging off of Ross's door going into 1. Which is not the first time I saw him do that this weekend, by the way. I saw him do it in the Xfinity race also. I don't remember who it was that he did it to. I want to say it wasn't, but I want to say it was Cole Custer for some reason. I think it was like a grayish black car or something like that. But he did it in the Xfinity race too, and I watched it happen. I was like, that's kind of weird, but he really wants to get by that guy. So, I mean, I get it. He had a fast race car. But he was literally door banging the other person going into 1. They back way out of the gas. Kyle Larson goes on by. That's what he was doing to Ross going into 1. Him and Ross side by side going into 1. I mean, it's late in the race, and Kyle Larson is just banging off of his door. He was knocking on the door, literally and figuratively, trying to outrightly take the lead and again try to win the race. And ends up putting Ross in the wall in turn 1. As Martin Truex Jr. and Joey Logano wrecked the field. For lack of a better term, they pretty much wrecked the entire field. And so we do it again. But Ross was the leader when the caution comes out. So Ross chooses the lane this time. And it was interesting. NASCAR's social media team put out the Instagram post that of the team's audio side by side while they're talking about it, and it was interesting to listen to. So Ross picks the bottom. That's where he felt he was the strongest on restarts. They go into turn 1. Kyle Larson pinches down real hard. I guess Ross got tight. I wasn't in the race car. I don't know. And regardless, Ross pushes up into Larson. Larson ends up in the wall. Ross ends up wrecked across Larson's nose. It was very reminiscent of a restart earlier in the race where Larson and Ross were side by side and Ross left him enough room. And they raced off of 2. It's hard to imagine not being pissed about being around the wall. The restart previous, I don't know. There's a lot to unpack. There's a lot to unpack. Yikes. I mean, it was hard nosed, old fashioned racing yet again. Um, but boy, oh boy, I wish it would have turned out differently for both drivers. Not just, I do like Ross, but I wish it would have turned out good for both drivers. Because, like I said, Ross Chastain had a really fast race car. Uh, he, well, I didn't say it in this recording, but he had a fast race car. He was picking people off one by one. He started fifth, but just kept picking people off, picking people off. Eventually worked his way up to the lead and took it away from Martin Truex Jr. it's it's I don't know. It's tough. It is tough. A lot of people villainize Ross, and I understand why. I do. Um, I really like Ross Chastain. I think he drives wheels off everything he gets into. Gives 110% every car he's in. You're not going to get cheated with Ross behind the wheel. But a lot of people are upset, including Rick Hendrick. He put out a presser and he was mad. Justin Marks now said that he's going to have to deal with things a little differently. I don't necessarily want to see Ross change the way he drives because it is entertaining, and I think that NASCAR kind of, I mean, kind of in a way lacks those guys that really give 110% every. I know everybody gives 100%. Blah blah blah, but I you can genuinely like see how bad Ross wants to be there and how bad Ross wants to win races, and I think a lot of that has to do with the journey. He hasn't always been in the best equipment coming up through the lower tiered series, like the Truck Series and the Xfinity Series. So he's trying to make the most of being in good equipment and making a couple of mistakes. And I think I've heard it a couple times, a couple different places, people kind of comparing him to Dale Earnhardt Sr. And I know I know it's extremely unpopular, but I mean, you talk about a guy that got the most out of his equipment and drove as hard as he did, and the will to win. I mean, come on. It's hard not to draw comparisons. It's hard not to. And I understand, oh, Ross doesn't have the accolades. He doesn't have championships. He doesn't have race wins. Yada, yada, yada. Well, guess what? Dale Sr. didn't have that stuff at one time, too. He didn't. I mean, I understand he won championship in his like second season. But there was a point in time where he didn't have all those accolades to back it all up. But he ran everybody hard. He did everything 100%. Ross Chastain does everything 100%. He wants to win. And with how pertinent it is to win, especially in the playoffs, I understand that he's got a lot of rivals. And if this was NASCAR 2005, they had the hero and villain, and his would be pegged all the way out on villain, much like mine was when I was a child, because I just wrecked everybody because it was fun. Um, but I don't think it could matter. I mean, we've seen it matter before with making enemies and them ruining your playoff chances. But I genuinely think Ross Chastain could win a Cup Series championship at some point if he can clean it up a little bit. Not everybody hate him. That's just how I see it. I think he's got the talent. I think Trackhouse is putting the team around it. It'll be interesting to see how it goes. Obviously, a lot of people hate him. Blah blah blah. But him and Denny Hamlin have shown that it can be paired. So who knows? We could see it. I'm gonna say we'll see it at some point. Probably gonna get a lot of hate for that. The other person he kind of reminds me of is Joey Logano in a way, even though I hate Joey Logano very much, dislike Logano. Um, but when he was coming up in the Cup Series, even though he got a really good ride in Joe Gibbs, um, wrecked a lot of. He's been known to wreck a lot of people. He races hard. Gets in fights. Doesn't care. Joey Logano doesn't care. Ross seems to care a little bit. That might be going down. Who knows? That's just my opinion. Um, and yeah, that's that's all I've got. That's all I've got. That's my opinion. Ross Chastain will be a Cup Series champion at some point. And we are winding it down. And I promise you, I would give you some predictions. Yay. Obviously, game one, Lakers Nuggets tonight. I'm not going to pick a winner of that game because it might not be until Friday when I get to record this again. But I can pick some serious winners. Lakers Nuggets. That's a tough one to pick. Oh man, I'm not gonna pick that one first. I'll pick that one second. We're gonna start Heat Celtics. 3% chance for the Heat to beat Boston. I'm going out on a limb. Give me Miami. I'm taking the Heat. Probably 6 or 7 games. I think that I definitely don't see the Heat sweeping the Celtics. You never know. I mean, weirder things have happened, but I think the Heat return to the finals. Also, I believe if it's correct that what I saw earlier, these are the 4 teams from the bubble conference finals, so the bubble's not fake. These teams are all good. I mean, I already knew that though. I figured it was just a matter of time before we saw them at some point again. Although the Lakers were kind of wishy-washy, but on the other side, Lakers Nuggets. I don't know. I think the league's in a lot of trouble if the Nuggets do make finals and they gain that experience of playing in it. Maybe not necessarily winning the finals, but just playing in the finals. I mean, we have seen it recently with teams like the Suns, who were addicted to playing in the finals and have not been back. Congratulations to them on beating addiction. That is tough. But man, you have to wonder if the Nuggets, I mean, the talent level, not the same, or I guess not level. That's not the right way to say it. Skill sets, we'll go skill sets. Their skill sets are different, but you have to wonder if the Nuggets make the finals and were to win, or maybe not even just win, but just making the finals. That experience, if that ends up possibly turning them into a dynasty, possibly. I mean, they got one of the best players on the planet, Nikola Jokic. They keep keeping a good team around him. Just like the Warriors, they were so interchangeable with a lot of their pieces, other than Steph, Clay, and Dre. It genuinely makes you wonder if that team could be one of those teams that it's like it doesn't matter what seed they are in the playoffs, that they could go. They're going to the finals more than likely. I'm interested to see how it plays out. I feel like since I went out on a limb with the Heat Celtics pick, I can't do it with the Lakers Nuggets pick, so I'll stay. Not a hell with. I'm picking the Lakers in 7. I think this one definitely goes 7. I mean, how can you not want a Heat Lakers rematch? I know Cal will be happy with that also because Cal is a Heat fan. Again, shout out Cal if you're watching. But there's just so many great storylines going into this. I mean, you could have Celtics Lakers for the 18th time, for their 18th rings apiece, or whatever. You could have Nuggets Heat and them both beating the Lakers and Celtics to make it. You could have Lakers Heat rematch of the bubble, Celtics Nuggets rematch, or not a rematch, but a matchup of 2 teams that haven't been to the finals and whatever. You know, I think the Celtics made it last year, but don't listen to me about that. I'm just spouting nonsense about storylines that could be made up. If either way, they're going to be 2 banger series. Lakers Nuggets tonight, 8:30 on ESPN. If you get to watch this beforehand, if not, the game already happened. This video was supposed to go an hour ago, so I have to go edit and upload this. If you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe, comment down below. Let me know how dumb I sound. If you're watching or listening on Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon, Pandora, Stitcher, whatever there might be. Make sure to hit the follow button. Go to follow our Facebook page, Hack 3 Strikes. Tell me how dumb, or not Hack 3 Strikes, just 3 Strikes now. Tell me how dumb I am there. I think that's fair. Yeah, thanks y'all for watching. We'll see you later this week. I'm going to commit to a day this time. I needed a whole day to find words to describe what happened with Jaws, so maybe that'll happen again later this week. I'll not that, but needing a whole day to really come up with words to say about things. Something monumental happens, but yeah. So we'll see you guys later this week. Have a good one. Peace.